You know who will top 10 GC if he keeps on doing what he's doing? Jay Vine. Let's talk about him.
He's on about 6.5 minutes now. He's won from the GC group, Jay Vine on Pico Hana. He won from the breakaway today. Different requirements from the two of them. A higher watts per kilo, crazy performance on Pico Hana with maybe an easier day in the wheels relative to competitors. Today, from the breakaway break that eventually formed with Soler, starting from almost kilometer zero, taking all the KOM sprints along the way, not that he was really contested, and then just dusts everyone in the breakaway group on the climb. And people are saying he's the best climber in the race. I'm not sure I agree. Like Evenepoel, it's hard to split them. Like Evenepoel only put 10 seconds into him from the GC group on Picojano. We've only seen them on kind of shallowish climbs. We'll see tomorrow on Preres how Vine will go on a rampas. But I don't know. It's between him and Evenepoel right now. I think it's obviously I'm a Vine stan, like personal friends with him. So like, but it is easier to look good against the break than when you're Remco against the GC guys. Not today. So I think the narrow edge is Remco still. I'm almost more confident that Vine will carry this shape throughout the race. But every year there are only 2 Zwift Academy winners, but there are thousands of participants. Zwift Academy helps you find your strength and go further, whether you're aiming for a pro contract or just trying to get fitter on the bike. Orientation rides are live now, and we'll talk you through the basics of Zwift Academy on a short, mellow spin with a couple of intervals alongside other Zwifters. Once Zwift Academy kicks off, the workouts will be available on demand and as group workouts, and all workouts are available in English, German, French, Spanish, and Japanese. To find out more or to start your free 7-day trial, head to Zwift.com.
He's got a full Grand Tour in his legs, which Remco on paper doesn't, but again, it was that Giro, so it's not really defining. I think we need to look at multiple things. And Remco Evenepoel needs to be at his top shape every single day to make sure he doesn't lose time and can't take a break at any point in this Grand Tour. Jay Vine has used some stages. I can't pinpoint every single one right now, but
the early
he's
Basque
lost
ones.
time. The early Basque ones, okay. He's lost some time on those early Basque ones to make sure that he could go in a breakaway. I think he tried on that Picojano stage to go in the breakaway, failed to do so, and ended up doing it from the GC group afterwards. So he lost time to go in the breakaway, which means that he spent less energy on those early Basque stages than an Evenepoel had to do, for example. He doesn't need to be watching every single move of every GC competitor to make sure he reacts to everything on the final climb. He can just look at himself a bit more. And I think that extra percentage there is already something. I don't know if it's significant. I'm not going to pretend that this is the difference between, I don't know, X amount of watts and 50 watts more, for example. I don't think that's a difference we see here. But it's at least a tiny bit difference, in my opinion. And when we look at winning today, for example, let's be honest about it. If Tarame was in the GC group, Jay Vine gained 43 seconds on Tarame on the final climb. If Tarame was in the GC group, he's on minutes of Evenepoel. Is that an indicator in your eyes?
No, because like Vine, of course, will do less watts after having been in the break all day pulling, whereas Evenepoel's been in the wheels. So that's the kind of trade-off where if you do, I think there's provisional. Like apparently the watts they did today is pretty good, not confirmed yet, but like not as good as Picojano, but Remco did like 6.4 region for 27.5 minutes again, which is like pretty damn good. I don't know. It's tough to say. I do think the reason this is such a tricky argument is because these two are both on like an unbelievable level. And this is why when you really think about it, it was almost insanity to work with Vine in the break today. It's like no one wants to say it because it sounds ridiculous, but Vine right now is a better climber than Pogacar's level in the Tour de France. I know, of course, Pogacar has the complete package. I'm not talking about that, the TT, whatever. I'm talking about just literal watts per kilo on a mountaintop finish if they both arrive at the base based on their career. And if Pogacar's in that break, Benji, at top level after winning a stage, like, do you think they play it differently?
Yes, because he's got a different palmarès. And I think when it comes to Vine, that palmarès is still limited, and the time that the competition knows him is still limited. So they might still see those victories, like the previous one on Picojano, as potentially a fluke in their eyes, for example, compared to their bigger palmarès of a Landa and a Pinot who have won multiple things and think, okay, I can take this guy on. I think that
You
argument is
think,
still there.
like, yeah, I agree with you, but it seems crazy to me. Like, you see
Yeah.
the watts, like, and to me, it requires a bigger faith, a bigger leap of faith to think he's put a minute 30 into Roglic from the GC group and he's not done good watts. It's like, I actually think it's more likely if he puts a minute 30 on a 30-minute, 6% climb, he's done pretty good watts. So I don't know. I think they're both Evenepoel and Vine, like top 5 climbers in the world right now. That doesn't mean throughout the year they will be. Pogacar turns up at his target World Tour stage races at a consistent level. But yeah, right now Vine is just looking at a crazy, crazy level. What would you do if you were him, Benji? You got KOM, few points for the rest of this Vuelta, 2 stages in the pocket. You're now marked. It's now obvious what you can do. What would you do? You could almost switch to GC now and then try and grind out a top 6 on GC.
I don't know about it. It's a very difficult trade off, you know? When it comes to the situation that he's currently in, we are 8 stages in, he's got 2 stage wins, and if he gets into breakaways that make it to the finish line with a minute and a half roughly on the peloton at the foot of the final climb, he's got a chance of winning that stage every single time. So he has to choose. Either he goes for a top 10 in GC from this position, which I believe in. His time trial on paper with the watts that he puts out should be good.
No, it won't.
I don't
It won't
know.
be.
It won't be?
No, his setup. No, you at 12 de Passage, he did great watts, but then he lost so much time. His setup's no good.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Like top 10 GC in the Vuelta, we're talking like 25 minutes. So it's, yeah.
But what? Would you not rather try and get 4 stage wins than top 10 in the Vuelta?
But I'm saying, won't it be hard? Like, Stora got 2, and he got the Balcon de Alicante one because remember, Koos, Haig, and Sivakov were fighting each other, and then Sivakov and Stora abusing each other. The GC guys fought. Like, I'm not sure people will work with him now. Like, what I would actually do, seriously, would be to go up to Evenepoel and be like, you know what you're missing, buddy? You're missing that last man to do that last pull to reduce the group. I'm not a threat for overall GC, and just go full Contador mode, Contador, Scarponi, or whoever, and pace super hard. Evenepoel doesn't contest the stage and gets a nice steady pace set for him that he likes, like on Peñas Blancas. Like those 2 on Peñas Blancas can ride everyone away.
Is Jay Vine at the point where he has the self-confidence, and I think this is a big thing, that he has a self-confidence that he says to himself, I can drop everybody except for Remco Evenepoel on this climb?
Yeah.
I don't believe that Jay Vine is at that level when it comes to self-confidence. I don't believe he believes that he's at that level. He crossed the line today, shaking his head, not believing the situation, looking at the floor. Whether that's staged or not, I don't know. I don't think so. He seems like a pretty fair guy. So I don't believe that he's at the point.
I just think he couldn't believe he won another stage after, like, these things come in bursts, like the Almeida Polonia stage, like, and then he won another one. Yeah, he's been trying to win a pro race for ages, and then he suddenly wins 2 in the space of 3 days. I think it's just disbelief at that. I do think he thinks, like, he knows, like, he's got good watts. Like, Pico Hanna says that. So I don't know. It'd be interesting because Sierra Nevada will be GC group, and I think Padun will be trying to do what Vine did on Pico Hano and attacking from the group, and like he did on La Plan. Maybe Vine will go with Padun there. I think it depends on the stage. Like, it's too hard to get in the break. then you try and win from the GC group. But yeah, it's not over his stage hunting, but I think it's going to be more difficult for him now from the break.
One more aspect to it. What is he on GC now? I just want to recap that for a second. 24 on 6 minutes 33. I think that is still not close enough for Evenepoel to actively not allow him to go in the breakaway. I think he's still at the point where he's going to be allowed in the breakaway at least one more time at this gap, personally. And yes, the breakaway dynamics might not be in his favor, but I still am not 100% confident that he's going to be seen as the factor like that in that
come on,
breakaway.
they will. They will.
Is he just not strong enough at this point to play with them then? Like, let's take a look at Wout Barguil. What was it? 2017 Wout Barguil. He was in the breakaway multiple times in the Tour de France. He was by far the strongest breakaway rider in that Tour de France. Ended up getting second on Chambéry stage, winning 2 stages in week 3, getting 5th on 2 mountain stages, ending with GC riders. I think finishing with Chris Froome, Romain Bardet, and so forth in stages as well. Like, he was climbing into the top 10 because of this opportunity, or do you think that is because he started that movement in the second half of the tour, that he didn't have the issue one weekend, a few days in, that he had to think GCR stages? He started in the second half of that tour and therefore came to that point much later in the last week and was like, I can take one more stage in top 10 like that, and didn't have to think about that. I think it's more like that.
I'm more worried about people refusing to work with him.